Are you frustrated of feeling invisible to women, even though you're working hard, taking care of yourself, and putting in effort to improve your relationships? In this video, I'm going to break down how to become more attractive to women so that you have a larger pool of prospects to choose from and actually have them pursue you without you having to do all the heavy lifting. The truth is, attractiveness determines whether or not you are approached. In order to not feel invisible to women, you must market yourself differently by improving the product specifications and the audience to which that product is exposed until there is more demand. In any relationship, the person asking for something is less powerful than the person being asked. If the woman is being pursued, which is often the case, she has the leverage and is in a better position to be the chooser rather than the chosen. If the woman is being pursued, for example, which is often the case, she has the leverage and is in a better position to be the chooser. For that reason, it is not sound advice for men to simply sit back and wait for a woman to make the first move. For this to happen, you must be attractive enough to persuade the woman to forego her leverage in order to pursue you. If you want to be approached consistently, you must either be superior to most women in attractiveness or have a degree of status or fame that commands noticeable attention. If you are not currently being pursued by women, you are, by definition, not attractive enough to never approach women or do the pursuing. That means you need more status or better looks, and as a man, you can maximize both of these things. You may not become the most handsome looking guy in the room, but you can have presence. Now, I want to debunk a big myth that a lot of men may be deluded by because I see it a lot lately and I believe it can only get you hurt in the long run. Imagine for a moment you met the woman of your desires and she made all the advances early on. She cooked for you, cancelled plans for you, and maybe even asked you to hang out and took most of the initiative early on to be in your company. You may hear this and think to yourself that this kind of woman should be protected at all costs and that you have a 100% lifetime guarantee of loyalty. This is unfortunately not the case because at the end of the day, she is a woman. Her biology and needs and the mechanisms of attractiveness are the same. Men are dumped for richer, taller, more handsome men all the time, despite being the ones who are pursued. So do not fall for the flattery before you have sufficiently tested the woman and understood her intentions. This takes me to my main point. If you're not a high value candidate with a stacked resume and many offers, you are not going to be aggressively recruited or offered additional benefits to sign a contract at your disposal. Dating is no different. If you are not attractive and competent, because dating is indeed a game of appearances and perceived value, you are not going to have the agency to choose from multiple offers or even change the terms of that contract because you actually don't have that privilege. Since attractiveness dictates who chooses who, the goal for you is to maximize your attractiveness. You don't force the customer to buy or the employer to hire you. You improve the product and the way you market yourself until the customer shows initial interest without you having to bargain for attraction. The way you do this is by maximizing your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses. Do you have a social circle? Are you presenting yourself how you want to be treated? Are you thriving in your career and work? Everyone has a distinctive quality that, when consistently developed, sets them apart from their peers. For some men, that may be their height or their physique, while for others, that may be their sense of swagger or mannerism. You must be known for something because that's what gives you status and recognition. You don't have to be the most handsome man in the room. You just need to have something that increases your perceived value. Unfortunately, it is the case with some men who are exceptionally attractive, have a great life situation, but still manage to fumble the woman part, and it has absolutely nothing to do with their looks. The reality is that you can be handsome yet boring, and if a woman had to choose, she will almost always pick the exciting guy who will spontaneously take her on a getaway trip to Greece and introduce danger and pleasure in her life, even if that man was objectively average looking. But he has her attention and is stimulating something inside her that incentivizes her to stick around. That's why it is often the case that a man doesn't know how attractive he could be until he starts approaching women and having many interactions. Because realistically, most men will rarely get approached. But that doesn't mean they're unapproachable or unattractive. Maximizing your attractiveness doesn't only happen on the physical level. That's the thing. It happens on the psychological level, understanding how to seduce women and stimulating their emotions, knowing how to magnify your presence and charisma in her eyes will make it 20 times more likely that you will score quality women consistently over a shorter period of time, or at least have the facility to choose better quality women without having to chase, bargain, or negotiate with women for their time and attention. Once you start putting yourself out there, you will inevitably encounter some kind of friction or tension in your life, and without understanding how to overcome approach anxiety and your fear of rejection, you will only be stuck or paralyzed into inaction. So watch this video if you want to learn how to actually speak to women without feeling anxious, paralyzed, or nervous every time you're starting an interaction. So click on this video to learn more, and I will see you then.